as well. So welcome, one and all, to the Masha Music Academy open house and information session for the MTB exam. We're so pleased to have you here today. This actually is a hybrid event. So in addition to the folks that have been able to join in here on Zoom directly, we have a number of people in the Academy as well this afternoon. For those of you that are listening in from the Academy, you will be able to take a tour of our facility. If you haven't done that already this afternoon, we encourage you to stay a little bit right after the session and meet with the team there on the ground who can answer any additional questions you may have and take you around the facility. So let me jump in. Actually, I'm going to turn off, give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off the waiting room so people can join us. They need to. There we go. I want to spend a few minutes telling you about Masha Music Academy and who we are. We've been around for about 15 years, almost actually 16 years already. We was founded by Mrs. Glenda Masha in May of 2008. She had been an educator in the US and in Nigeria for over 48 years and decided that in her retirement, she would start this little school called Masha Music Academy. She had a very strong educational background and she translated that into music and into ensuring that there was always success in learning. And that is something that we continue to focus on with all of our students even today. We ensure that her vision lives on and we strive to remain one of Nigeria's top 5 music schools. When we look at our goals, we have a variety of different goals, but in every interaction, we focus on the individual. We focus on the one-on-one with the student and to bring in as much as we can the new techniques, the new computer tools, things that we feel are going to add to that student's experience and ensure that we're looking at a holistic view of music education and instrumental music as a whole. Music, a gift for life. It's a simple statement, but that is what we've based a lot of our interactions on and in what we desire to pass on to every student, whether they spend 1 term or 15 years with us, is we want to help them get to their highest potential as a musician and as tomorrow's leader, whether in Nigeria or in the world. So we have a wide variety of services. On the left-hand side, we have the more traditional musical instruments, which we teach through one-on-one lessons. We also do music theory. We have music camps at certain times during the year, orchestra and concert band. On the right side, we have some other additional services that we do offer as well. We work with students with autism, cerebral palsy, and even speech delays. And through music therapy, we've been able to do wonderful things with these students over the years. We've had our music therapy program in place since about 2010, so about 14 years already with that. We also start quite young, and we have a toddler music activity program that we start as young as 18 months. And these are group classes that are taught with the little toddlers. And it's an introduction to music through play. And it's usually a good starting point before they go into their individual lessons, which usually start between the ages of 3 and 5. We also offer some sound engineering and production classes and instrument sales and repairs. This is just a snapshot of some of the instruments that are most common at the Academy, but we've also had a few others that we have been asked about, and we do teach at the Academy. So if you see anything you're interested in, do stop and ask one of the staff on ground. During the year, we do a number of different activities. We try to get the children out for concerts and competitions. We have our own Teacher of the Year and Scholar of the Year awards that are awarded each year in July. And we have extensive teacher training workshops that go on throughout the year as well to ensure that our teachers are constantly being enriched and improving themselves. We offer a wide variety of different competitions through the COBIS and MUSON programs here in Nigeria. And then we've supported many of the different international and local examination boards over the years. We've been offering ABRSM since about 2011, and Trinity. Some of our students have done Trinity or Muson as well. And today you'll hear all about Music Teachers Board, and we're very, very excited to announce our agency in Nigeria with them. It's a new thing, and that's why today we want to introduce the rest of you to what MTB is all about, and we're particularly excited about this partnership. This is our leadership team. This is myself and our head teacher, Mr. Shola Bajomo. And we also have a number of other team leads that specialize in different instruments or instrument groups that are part of the team that ensure that we are constantly adapting and growing our syllabus and how we work and engage with our students. So without further ado, I would like to jump into our MTB exam presentation. And for that, I'm going to introduce first Mr. David Kessel and Mr. Mark Kessel, both of the MTB boards. Both of the MTB board. David is the managing director of MTB, and David has a diverse skill set and experience working in a range of finance, operations, management, and software roles. His last role was head of operations at the charity Scleroderma and Renault in the UK, overseeing the administrative staff offices, finance, retail arm, and more. David oversees all the operation activities at MTB. Mark is their chief examiner and the head of the trumpet and cornet. Mark has over 40 years of experience as a classical performer, arranger, composer, and instrumental teacher of students of all ages and all experience levels. He's been teaching children from beginner stage all the way through students at UK universities. Mark has been the chief examiner of MTB since its inception in 1991, and has overseen the establishment of all their syllabi and also the recognition from Ofcall and UCAS. We welcome both David and Mark to our presentation today. Thank you very much. So with that, I will ask you guys to turn on your videos and come online.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for the introduction and for the lovely opening presentation. It's lovely to meet you all, and thank you all for attending today. You may or may not know or have heard of MTB. We're otherwise called the Music Teachers Board, is what MTB stands for. So I'll just share my screen and hopefully you'll be able to see that. Is that working?
Yes, it is.
Lovely, fantastic. So an introduction to MTB. We launched our first regulated qualifications in 2019. We've been around a while before that, developing the board and all of our syllabuses and qualifications and gaining our accreditation. But we first launched those qualifications in 2019. Our exams are recognised by Ofqual, which are the Office of Qualifications and Examinations Regulation in the UK. And that means that they are accredited to exactly the same standard as other boards you might have heard of, such as ABRSM or Trinity. So effectively, it's the same qualification you'd receive from us, just a different provider of that qualification. Our grades 6 to 8 also offer UCAS points for entry into UK universities. Since our launch in 2019, we've grown now to 3,000 exam centres across 50 countries. Our focus was very much to expand accessibility by offering the first remote instrumental exam in the world. So these exams could be taken anywhere, anytime, online and submitted into us. Obviously, with the pandemic and things moving very much online during that, the market has changed into that kind of model, and we are kind of the front runners of that approach. So everything we've built is designed to work really well in a remote way and online. So what do MTB do different? So to begin with, we offer instrument specialist examiners. So for any other board, for example, you might submit a drum exam or a guitar exam, and that might be marked by a piano teacher or a singing teacher. So it's always an instrument generalist for other exam boards. So they're actually marking exams they can't teach or play. For MTB, it's always a piano examiner marking a piano exam. A drummer would mark a drum exam. So it's always a specialist that can teach and play that instrument that would be marking your assessment. And what that means is that they can provide a lot more accurate marking, a lot more technical feedback, and they have a lot greater understanding of the difficulties and challenges that students face, particularly at these earlier levels when learning these instruments. We also offer thousands of free exam resources. So as Mark will go through when he goes through the syllabuses, for other boards, for example, you might need to buy a book for scales, a book for oral tests, etc. So you're buying a range of books to do the assessment and the learning. For us, all of the assessment material is available for free on our syllabus, apart from the pieces. So everything else is available to download for free, and there's thousands of resources for all of our 35 odd instruments that we offer now. We are completely flexible with entry and submission. So you can enter an exam at any time online, and you can submit it up to 12 months after you purchase it. So completely flexible about entry and submission. We're also the only board to offer an app, which means that you can record and submit the exam using just a phone or tablet. And that'll take you through the whole recording and submission process, allow you to check the quality of your recording at the start, take photographs of any music you've used, keeps the file compression down so that the file sizes are not too large to allow you to submit it, and it's all the right format style, and basically makes the whole process of recording and taking an exam really straightforward and simple. And it's something that parents or teachers can use, or schools can use, to record their exams and submit them. Lastly, we offer free choice. So what that means is that you can learn any content for the exam pieces as long as this is the correct grade standard. So that increases the flexibility of what you can learn dramatically, and means that if you've got candidates that enjoy certain styles of music, whatever they may be, whether they're kind of regional, local pop music or certain styles of rock or things like that, or classical, they can focus on that for their exam. We also have a free choice approval service. That means you can submit pieces. So if you're not sure, is this the correct grade, you can submit that into us for free, and we'll say, yes, you can use that for your grade 3 exam, or yes, you can use that for a grade 5 exam. Pieces from other Ofqual regulated boards, such as ABRSM, Trinity, are approved at the same grade. So that's a little bit about MTB. As I said, we offer 30 different instruments across practical and performance exam structures. All this Mark will go through in much greater detail. I'm sure the terms I'm going through don't mean a lot at this stage. We offer contemporary, classical styles. We offer jazz. A whole range of different styles are supported through our syllabuses. And we also have our own books that can be purchased digitally or physically from our bookshop online. So hopefully that explains everything from my side. I'll hand over to Mark now to go through in much more depth about MTB and to take you through the website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Before Mark comes in, I just want to remind everyone, as you think about questions that you may have, please type them out in the chat. We will address all the questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Mark, over to you.
Hi there. Yes, I'm Mark Kessel. I'm the Chief Examiner at the Music Teachers Board. Thank you, David. That was really very well done. And I am also an instrumental teacher of over 40 years, well over 40 years now, actually teaching experience. And so I'm very well aware of all the challenges that you all face in motivating your pupils, but not only that, in navigating the instrumental examination system. And we are here to help with that. In fact, MTB Exams was set up and created almost completely by very experienced and very motivated instrumental teachers who understood the value of graded exams as targets for your pupils, but realized that the traditional methods had many issues connected with them, which we felt if we turned to technology, we could overcome. So that kind of is where we come from with this. And there's a key central thing to our approach, if you like, at MTB. We believe that the whole process of learning a musical instrument should be a positive and very enjoyable one. There's no place for stress or negative experiences, including the exam itself. And so everything we've done is to try and make the whole process as positive and as enjoyable for everyone. And I'll cover a lot of that as we go. We're, as teachers, our whole raison d'etre, if you like, is that we all love music ourselves and we want to transmit that joy of music to our pupils. So that's why it's important to make sure that there's nothing that gets in the way, such as things that make pupils feel they don't want to take music exams or don't want to continue because they have a negative experience. MTB work very hard to make it all very positive, accessible, and enjoyable for you and your pupils. Now, David explained all the advantages to you. He explained we have an app, which makes life much easier for you. He explained we have free choice repertoire, which means your pupils can play music they enjoy and music you enjoy. We have loads of free resources, but one other thing that we have, which no one else has, is because MTB Exam was set up from its inception as an online exam board, we are the only ones to offer a complete online exam. So a face-to-face exam, you would expect to be having pieces, you'd expect technical elements like scales, you'd expect reading, listening areas to be covered. MTB was created to replicate as in an online friendly way the experience of that kind of face-to-face exam, if you like. So it gives you the opportunity to cover all those areas in your teaching. Most online exams really only cover a limited area, such as performance pieces in their offering. It's only in the face-to-face exams that you will get the full list of things I just mentioned. So the great thing about MTB Exams is you have two choices. You can either take practical grades, which is this full exam that I've just talked about, which I'm going to talk to you in detail about in a moment. And we also offer performance grades, which is the equivalent to the online exams offered by other boards with just pieces at its core. So I'm going to now introduce you to all of this by sharing my screen. At least I'm going to try. And as long as I've got permission to do that, hopefully I will be able to. Let me just see if I can.
You should be able to, Mark.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see where I get share sound as well. Excellent. And I'm going to share my screen, and there we go.
You can see your screen now.
Yeah. So this is the MTB Exams website that you are looking at. And I thought a good place to start here would be to sort of show you a little bit about what's on this website. The only thing is, at the moment on my screen, I don't know if you can see it, there's a bar here which is kind of in the way of a lot of the things. David, do you know how I get rid of that black?
So you grab the bar on one of its ends or at the top, you should be able to move that anywhere else on your screen.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. I thought I could, but I was a bit frightened to press something. Okay, there we go. In fact, I'll move it upwards rather than there. So, as you can see, at the top we have how it works, exams, support, about us, and a bookshop. How it works gives you the opportunity to have a look at how the whole system works. If you click on that, there is a whole set of instructions, if you like, or the whole system is explained in detail. These little plus signs give you more detail about how to download syllabuses, register, enter, all the rest of it. We've also got things like the marking criteria, about actually taking the exam, a little bit about the app. If you click on the app one, you'll get the opportunity to download the app, or you can do that from app stores on your phones. And then pricing, etc., is there you go to your website. So Then there's exams, make an entry, submit an exam, and then something about the grades I'm going to talk to you about, which is practical grades, performance grades. I'm going to start, though, by talking about our practical grades. And I'm going to go to where you'll probably mostly go, which is this at the bottom, syllabuses. And you click on syllabuses, and this shows you the range of instruments in which you can enter exams. Let me just explain one brief thing here. There's this unusual word that nobody else uses except MTB: contemporary guitar, contemporary singing, contemporary drums. This is to distinguish these instruments from classical, and that doesn't mean contemporary classical, not to be confused with modern classical music. This is any other kind of contemporary style. That is covered there. But if you're a classical player, for example, let's say you're a piano teacher, you would click on piano. And this takes you to the option to view syllabuses. Again, you've got these plus signs down here. So if I click on the plus sign and I select a grade, let me select, for example, grade 3. And this is the information you need on how to take a practical grade with MTB exams. And what this says is that there is a section 1. This is just loading up because I'm on the screen with you. It's taking a moment. This is section 1, which is the recital, which is worth 60 marks of the exam. And it says select 3 pieces from the following list. And that's section 1. Section 2 is the technical section, 25 marks, which is technical exercises and scales. And then section 3 is the musicianship section. And you've got 2 options there. You either do reading skills and listening skills, oral tests, or reading skills and a duet. I'm going to go through these in a bit more detail in a moment, but if you carry on scrolling down, all that you need for the syllabus and the requirements for grade 3 are all on this list here. So I'm going to go back to the top and just take you through this in a little bit more detail. So the first thing that you might notice is that it says, and this backs up what David was explaining earlier, that we offer free choice. It says here, select 3 pieces from the following list. However, for the exam itself, as an alternative to the pieces below, candidates may perform up to 3 pieces, 3 free choice pieces. And for guidance and approving these, there's a little link here. So what this means is you could do 3 pieces from this list. You could do no pieces from this list and then do entirely free choice pieces. Or you could do 1 piece from here and some free choice. You can mix and match. Basically, if you, for example, have always taken exams with 1 exam board, you're used to those pieces, you don't want to change your pieces, your grade 3 pieces, that's absolutely fine. If they're with one of the UK Ofqual regulated boards, such as ABRSO, Trinity, etc., you can use those pieces for your MTB exam. You don't need to get them pre-approved. They are obviously of the right standard because they are for graded exams at that level. If you have a book, for example, though, of pieces that you love to teach, you think this is a great book, or my pupils love this particular piece, I wish it was on the exam grade list for grade 3 or for any grade. Well, now it is. Basically, you can use that piece, and if you're sure of its standard, if you're very, very confident that it is of the correct grade standard, you can just use it. But if you're unsure, you can use our free choice approval service. I would highly recommend you do that just to check your pieces if you're not certain. So basically, the great thing about MTB as well is what David said to you is that you don't have to buy any of the resources. I showed you below. They're all listed there. Your pupils can access all the music for everything that you need. But what's even better about that is that you technically don't have to spend any money on resources for MTB exams, because if you already own the music, you can use that music for your MTB exam. However, you may wish to explore what we offer on these lists. For example, there is a bookshop. There are pieces on the bookshop. So if you go to that bookshop, it'll enable you to buy the grade 3 book, which is either a digital book or a physical book. And that gives you all the pieces and everything else you need to take the exam. And as you can see, there's a set of pieces on the options here from the book. There's also some pieces from Tom Play, which I will, I'll tell you about now. Tom Play is on all our instrument lists. It's most useful actually for instruments that have piano accompaniment. So if you're a violinist and you want to have accompaniment, Tom Play is a platform, and the link is here. You just click on the link to find the piece. Is a platform that gives you the sheet music. It also gives you a recorded accompaniment, which you can change the tempo of, slow, fast. You can practice little tiny bits with the accompaniment by looping sections. It gives you all sorts of resources to use. And it's a fantastic tool. It gives you all contemporary repertoire as well, film music, all sorts of exciting things on there. So you're welcome to try and explore Tom Play pieces, might be of interest. But then, of course, there's just regular pieces with different books, which you're welcome to explore as well. So that's the recital section of your exam. Now, in the practical grade, you would then have to do the technical section, which is technical exercises and scales from memory. Here are the technical exercises for grade 3 piano. And you would play both of those exercises. You would then play a reduced list of scales, because in MTB you play all the scales on the list, not just a selection. So in other words, this is the list of scales you learn, and the music is all here for your pupils to download and practice from. Then we get to the next section of the exam, which is where we develop something to replicate face-to-face exams, but in a way that would work online. So our musicianship section of reading and listening skills, which I have to say is the most appreciated part, interestingly, of all our users. They love our reading and listening skills. They're particularly fond of the way we approach this. Reading skills are not, you'll get no unseen elements to an MTB exam. You're not going to have a piece put in front of you you've never seen and you just play it, or being given some oral tests you've never heard before. No, we don't have that in MTB exams. Everything in MTB is prepared. You practice it, and that's the point. It makes you practice it. And if you practice it, you have a chance to do well in the exam if you've prepared well. Reading skills are essentially learning about rhythm. They are clapping exercises. So if I was, for example, just to click on the link here, I could just go to the page. But if I click on it, it takes me immediately to the page on reading skills. Grade 3 concentrates on compound rhythms, 6/8, 9/8, 12/8. And each one is at a different tempo, set tempo, and they cover a range of different rhythmic patterns. And your pupil practices clapping the top line and against the pulse of the bottom line. And you do all these 6 exercises, not different ones, these 6 exercises in your exam. Now, your pupil can practice these at home, because all they need to do is click on this wonderful little link up here, which takes you to a recording of the reading skills being delivered by a teacher. And why that's handy is it means you don't have to worry about getting your metronome, sorting it all out. It basically has someone with all the tempi counting you in, and then the pupil claps these rhythms. So that's a little resource of recording there is used for practice. It also is the way I would recommend that you that you conduct the exam. I would recommend you use that recording in the exam itself. And then if I go back up to that list musicianship section to show you, that was one. Both sections, both options have the reading skills. You have to do the reading skills, but you have an option for your listening skills. You can either sing, you can sing back notes, plat rhythms, and again, there's a recording on that, on the listening skills that you can download, and your pupil can practice singing the exercises. They are a set of exercises that will be asked in the exam. So in other words, it's not a random set of exercises. You will be asked the ones on our listening skills recording to do when you take the exam. So you can practice those with your teacher or on your own at home with the recording. But the great thing is there's this wonderful option here, which everybody loves, which is the duet. So rather than doing sung oral tests, you can do a duet. And the reason we have duets as a listening skill is because we don't just want to learn to play our instruments, but we want to be able to play it with other people. And of course, that requires us to listen to them while we play. A good orchestral musician, for example, will be a great listener, somebody who knows if they're in tune, in time, and knows from everybody the cues of everyone else where to come in. So if I just click on the MTB duet, hopefully, there we go. This is the teacher's part, and this is the candidate's part. So you can either with your teacher, or there is things for your pupils to use and for you to use in the exam if you wish, or just for them to use at home to practice. One is this teacher's part at a slower practice speed. The other is this teacher's part at full exam speed. And so basically in the exam, you would set it to exam speed if you're going to use the recording, and there's a counting and your pupil plays along with this accompaniment, or you can do it as a live duet in your, when you sit the exam. That's absolutely fine for your teacher or another pianist or parent or anyone else to play the second part. So that gives you a rundown of what's in grade. But we offer an exam from there now. And go back to here. We also offer grades. As I say, this is the equivalent to really the online exams other boards offer, in the sense that it's just performance pieces. You don't have any technical section or musicianship section here. So what you do for performance grades, I would recommend you read this page. It's very important to read this page because it gives you a lot of very useful advice. But basically, for a performance grade, you have to play 4 to 5 pieces with a target duration. I was just looking for where it said it. So you present a recital program consisting of 4 to 5 pieces. It could be more than 5 pieces if you need to meet the target duration, but it's fine to do 4 to 5 pieces. And what we're trying to do here, we've taken a unique approach to performance grades, very different to other exam boards. What we've said is that you should treat this as an exam. You should treat this as a performance, a concert situation. This is your opportunity to play and to entertain us and to impress us in an amount of time that we give you. So, for example, at grade 5, if grade 4, for example, there's 10-minute target duration. And you should think of that as, let's say, a lunchtime concert or an evening performance where you've been given this 10-minute slot to, if you like, impress and entertain, as I say, your audience. So you would choose 4 or 5 pieces that are going to make an entertaining, enjoyable program, one that you enjoy playing because your enjoyment will come across to us, and one that displays a range of different technical and expressive skills. You'll do something slow, probably, something a bit more technical, something that shows off your technical wizardry, and something that shows your ability to play something maybe in a different stylistic genre. You might choose a jazzy piece or whatever. The world is your oyster, really. There, you choose whatever you wish for a concert program, as long as it's pieces of the right grade standard. So there's a whole lot of information here explaining what the target durations are and what they mean, and how you should select your pieces, what else you need to think about. Because for performance grades, we don't only mark, this is what's interesting about them, and why I say what I say. We don't only mark the technique, the expression, and the accuracy that you've displayed in your pieces. We also mark 2 other categories: sense of performance and stagecraft. That's one category: stagecraft and sense of performance, and program. The program section is there to sort of say, well, is the program you've presented something that shows your ability to have played at that grade? Did you really show us pieces of that really shows that you are of that grade standard? Did they display a range of different skills, as you would have to in a practical grade? In a practical grade, you need to do scales. So have you shown us a range of skills that convinces us that you are of that grade? But the interesting one is this stagecraft and sense of performance. As I say, it's a performance. So think about how you present yourself, how you make the space that you're performing in look. Try and make everything look as concert-like as you can. Think about how you might start a concert. Would you introduce yourself? Would you come on and take a bow? What would you do? It's up to you. Would you introduce each piece as you go along, or would you provide a written program and not say anything? You don't have to say anything, but you might choose to say something. And the advantage of saying something can be that it helps you meet the target duration, because that is all part of the performance time. So I'll leave you to read all this through. There's loads of information. There's even me talking about it there. So you can have a look at that. So that gives you an idea of what is involved in practical and performance grades. Now, there is also theory, but I thought maybe, should I just move straight on straight on to the theory, or did you want me to have a pause there?
Then carry on to the theory.
Okay, brilliant. Well, in that case, I will do so. Oh, before I do, I just want to, there's a couple of things I didn't mention actually in the syllabuses, just to say that if we, let's say we went to a different instrument. I'm a trumpet player. So if we went to my trumpet syllabus, for example, you can just see that in the syllabuses, there's 2 pre-grades. These are fabulous. And the reason they're so useful is that they enable you, there's this great rush to get to grade 1 very often from parents and pupils. And very often, really, they're not really got the foundation they need to actually do it properly. This gives you a chance to pace getting to there. If they get their pre-grade introductory, a very straightforward exam, just 3 pieces, technical exercises, nothing else, 3 pieces and technical exercises for a pre-grade introductory. And if they do that, they get a certificate and they are rewarded for their success immediately at an early stage. They're encouraged to carry on. Then you've got the pre-grade higher, which enables you to move on from there and get rewarded a second time before you get to grade 1. So you really feel like you're progressing at the early stages of playing. Then there's also our 2 diplomas. So if you're of a professional music standard and you want professional qualifications, we have an AMTB, which is, if you like, equivalent to the first year of advanced study at a music college or something like that. So the recital you might do so a good deal above grade 8, but not yet fully professional standard. That's the AMTB. But LMTB, which is our highest level 6 qualification, very high level qualification, is a fully professional standard requested for that, expected for that, but that gives you the opportunity to develop yourself beyond grade 8. So 2 pre-grades and 2 higher qualifications apart from the others. For contemporary instruments, there is a slightly different structure, which you can explore by looking at the contemporary syllabuses. But basically, the musicianship sections are not there for contemporary instruments. So let me just now turn my attention to theory. I need to work out now how to get to the portal. There it is. So I click on my portal. This portal, by the way, is very exciting. What happens basically when you submit, if you like, register for MTB exams as a centre, you can be, to be a centre, by the way, you can be either a full music hub, or something that, as there are in the UK, that has hundreds and hundreds of teachers under it, or you could be a school, a university, a college, or you can indeed be an individual with your own teaching practice. Once you sign up as a centre with us, you will get access to a portal and your account, and you get a centre number which is used for your entries, and that means that your pupils are tied to you. And what that means is you'll have a record of everything in here. We have, this is a a test site, so it doesn't really show you that. But it means that you will be able to see all your pupils' results, how they did, what's going on with the exams you've submitted, and a full record of everything you've done, which can be very helpful if you've got a school to administer, for example, and you want to keep track of all the pupils in your school. By the way, a school can sign up all its teachers under one umbrella organisation, and they can still have their own private teaching practice centre number as well. So there's huge flexibility around it. But in here, I'm going to see if I can, again, slight problem here. So let me just try and get to it. I think I can see. Got a slight problem that you're all over the top of my buttons here, but let me just see if I can get to the one for the grade one. I think I can just get to it. So I'm going to click on the theory grade one course. We're incredibly proud of theory. Theory is an unbelievable thing with MTB. It's all completely interactive. Your pupils will feel like they're playing games on their computers, enjoying themselves, getting to the next level. It's got that kind of feel. It basically is all interactive in the sense that it gives you lots of feedback as you're going, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is the what we call the textbook, the course. And the course gives you information about how to do things. So, for example, we start off, not because we expect this to be for piano players. This theory course is perfect for any musician. But the course, a keyboard, gives you a very visual way to see how tones, semitones, intervals, scales work, a very visual way to do that. So I could, for example, start a new assignment, which is what I'm going to do. Or if I've already been working on my course, I can carry on with it. But I'm going to start a new assignment. And what that does is that sets me an exam of randomized questions. But what it also does, it allows me to read all the instructions, how you might go about. This one teaches you about how the keyboard works and where the notes are on the keyboard. And these keyboards, by the way, they all play. And then there's some questions. And so, for example, it says here, given the note C, select a keyboard, and so you click on C, and it tells you you're correct. It says F, if I get it wrong, it says it's incorrect, and then I can correct it. You can see you're getting instant feedback. Here's type the name of this note. So this is a G, so I'll type in G, and it tells me I'm correct. Here's a note written on the stave, and I have to find it on the keyboard. So we're not telling you about octaves here, so it's a D, so I'll just click on D. And if I get it wrong, as I say, if I think I'm in treble clef and I click on an F, which is what most people do, and then I correct it, it tells me I'm right. So that gives you some of the idea of kind of the way it's all going on. You go on and it makes you write the note the other way around. So now you've got an A here and you have to write it on the stave and you check your answer and it tells you if you're correct. I'll see if I can go back to a different chapter just to show you something else. So let's choose, for example, key signatures. I'm going to start a new assignment again. And key signatures, for example, here, again, it explains all about sharps and flats and why it's about keys, and it teaches you all the different key signatures. What this means is you don't have to do it in your lesson. You can let your pupil go home, read the instructions, or just practice doing it, even if a lot of them don't even read the instructions and learn by just learning by looking at it and trying the best. But if I, for example, want to identify a key, I just write the letter name in there. Here, we do it the other way around. So write the key signature of G major. So I select the sharps and I just place it in the right. Let me just undo that. I went wrong, sorry. I place it on the F and I check it. Or for example, if I was on, if I was on D major, I would then select the sharps and place it again, look at that. Place it on the two right places, and I check my answer, and it gives me the correct answers. So you can see, and at the end of it, what's great is it sort of says, yeah, well done, you got 100%, go on to the next bit, and you feel like you succeeded and you're moving on. You can, on this, switch to exam mode, which means you don't get feedback, which is a very good thing to do because it means you can see how you're doing without being told if it's right or wrong. And we have not only courses, but we have exams, practice exams. And practice exams give you the opportunity to do two things: to take an exam with feedback, in other words, practice the exam questions, or to do a full exam in the right time without any feedback at all. And that way you as a teacher will see whether your pupil is ready to take their grade exam. So if you think, well, they've done the course, let's see if they can actually answer an exam and get a pass mark, they can go away. By the way, as I say, these are all randomized questions. So every time you start a new assignment here, or in the practice exams, start a new exam, it's a whole new set of questions that is generated. So you can use these as many times as you like, and they're very, very reasonably priced. They're only about £7 or £8 in UK pounds for a whole year subscription to a course or a practice exam. So there's a huge amount for very little, really. And then, of course, there's the exams themselves. So we do courses, we do practice, which is practice exams or practice questions, and the exams themselves. And the exams are grades 1 to 5 currently. Grade 6 is coming out very shortly in the next few months. And I'll just show you one final thing. Just for example, let's just try triads. And in triads, it says teaches all about triads. And we just have the chance to, if this is the root of a major triad, you have to write the other notes. My computer's decided to, let me see if I can get back. Sorry, it's all because I'm on your on the call. And yeah, a lot of these yeah, so here we are. This is the root position of a major triad. I just write the other two notes and I check this one here is a good example. So this one needs an F sharp, so I just stick the sharp next to it, and then the A, and I check the answer. So that gives you, I think, an idea of how this all comes together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and go back to, yes, try and go back to my thing here. Not sure quite how. Let me see if I can get rid of this. Maybe you can help me, David, if you're there. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't able to unmute myself for some reason. Yeah.
It's not this, is it? It's not my portal. Is it the exam portal? Oh, yes, exam portal. That's right. So I'm sorry, I've been dim. I'm back now. So I go back to the website, and that's just to show you there's the bookshop, which allows you to buy music, all the different publications we have. We have violin, piano, various other things like that. So I will stop there for a minute and just, oh yes, another great thing. Look at this testimonials page. Definitely look at that, because the testimonials page tells you why teachers like us. And we get hundreds of amazing feedback, positive feedback from people all the time. And if you read those, you'll see what people like. And the two things they say that they really like are the really positive and helpful mark sheets from our instrumental specialists, as David said. A violin exam is always marked by a violinist, so they can talk to you in your own language about understanding the techniques that you're displaying. And also our mark sheets are always designed to be positive in their feedback, not negative. You'll get something that will highlight the positives, but tell you how you can improve in a positive and helpful way. They also like the fact that you get fantastic customer support from us, we're here to help you enjoy the experience. And so our team in the office are amazingly quick and friendly, and you don't have to worry if there's anything you don't understand. Just ask them. And I keep saying I'm going to hand back, but I just keep remembering new things that I ought to show you. There's one other brilliant thing that we offer. If you go to make an entry, you'll find this really helpful. Use on instrumental grades, and you go to other, and you select here this free practice exam, and you go through the whole process of buying a free practice exam, which is, as it says, free. So you don't pay anything, but you have to go through the whole process. What that does is that generates, as you would get in a real exam, a thing called a front cover. And that front cover gives you your exam details, which is reference number of your exam and all the details of the grade, the candidate name, etc. And then instructions on how to carry out the exam. You don't have to worry. The sheet tells you what to do. So you know what to do. And the point about this free practice exam is it enables you to try using our app or try recording your exam using the back. You can basically do a mock exam as it will be on the day. You can even submit it. We won't see it, but the whole process is on there. It enables you to enter your reference number of the exam and the date of birth of the candidate, which is the other thing you need when you take an exam. Those are the two things, by the way: exam reference, date of birth. That allows you to practice the whole process. I will stop yakking now because I've been going on, and I will just go back to the top here, put it back to the home page, and yeah, and I'll hand back to see if there's anything that anyone wants to ask or whatever next.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much, David, for the information. I'm sure everyone is feeling quite excited and overwhelmed in some regard with all the information. I know I am. So I want a reminder to everyone, both those physically located at the Academy and those online, please take this time to drop your questions in the chat. If you are physically in the Academy, please hand over your piece of paper and we will have our staff drop those questions here in the chat so that we can address those in a few minutes. So the questions can be to either David, to Mark, or to myself as we try to answer questions. And make sure that you leave here today with all the information that you need on the MTB exam and the opportunities around that. Right, I am going to take back the screen.
Oh,
see. Yeah. So I wanted to play a short ad from MTB about their exam program. Wonderful. You saw some of the testimonials here in the video, but I also encourage you, like Mark said, to check out those on online as well. Their goal really is to try and distress this process, and many of you that have been music teachers for many years like us, you often see the situation where a student starts taking an external exam and they just get so frustrated, they lose interest in the instrument, And in many cases, they stop playing altogether, which I always find particularly sad. And I think the MTB has done a great has put together a program here that really does try and make sure that a child can present themselves in their best possible light. Like Mark said, the exam, whether practical or performance, doesn't include anything that they haven't been given a chance to practice. They haven't been given a chance to prepare ahead of time. So you're not putting them in a very stressful situation where they don't know. You know, the fear of the unknown can be very overwhelming for any of us, adults or children, but particularly children here. So I do think that's one particular great thing I've seen in the MTB program. Now I have a short presentation here. I think Mark has said a lot, and we thank him. David has said even more, but I wanted to try and bring some of the focus to what I think from a Nigerian perspective are some of the key things that we in Nigeria will get out of this, even more so than maybe those abroad. So you should be seeing a presentation again. Mark, can you confirm that for me? Just not, thank you. All right. So why MTB? So a lot of what is here is what Mark or David has already said, but let me jump into some of these. The flexibility over where or when. So in Nigeria right now, with most of the other exam boards, the only option we have are these performance exams. We register for them and we have about a month in which to take them. With their program, you really can plan. You and your students can set a target timeline and you register for the exam and you have up to 12 months to submit that exam. So you have plenty of time. If the student is not practicing as they should and they're not, getting the songs, then you have extra time. 12 months, they have up to 12 months to submit for these exams. Therefore, you can optimize when your students are ready. Some students move faster and they're ready to take the exam, in March, and others need a few extra months and may need to take the exam in June, for example. Flexibility over which style of exam. This has become very important to our students. Some students do like the performance exam where it's all focused on those performance elements and just putting together 4 or 5 songs. Others really like to, and this is also the teacher style, others like the good old-fashioned exams that we had before COVID, where I'm looking at the students' pieces, but I also want to see some technical skills. I also want to see some orals. I want to, make sure that they are all round a well-balanced musician. And that is available through the MTB, like Mark has said, in either the practical grades or the performance grades, depending on your preference. Free exam material. So a lot of the material, like he said, is available online. You can simply download it and use it with your student. Then for the pieces, if you choose to use the MTB pieces, even those are available. You do have to purchase them, but they're available as digital material. So a lot of the hassle that we have trying to get books from the UK shipped to Nigeria for our students, we wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, everything is digital and available basically instantaneously for download. From an exam fee perspective, I think this is huge. And a lot of us have been trying to do the ABRSM exam. Like I said, we've done that since 2011 with our students. But with the ever-changing, increasing price of Forex, it's becoming more and more out of reach for the average Nigerian. MTB exams are on average from grade 1 to grade 8, 52% lower than an ABRSM exam. I used grade 3 as an example here, where ABRSM right now is at 111 pounds. These are all in pounds. And MTB is at 54 pounds. And that 54 pounds is a new price. MTB updates their prices every September. So this fee is from now for a full year, will not change. The ABRSM fees do change every January. So it's very likely that this 111 pounds I'm showing here will go up in January of 2025. So the difference will actually be a little bit more come January. I think this is a huge, huge deal for many of our students, as we simply just can't afford at 2,000, what is it now, 2,200 naira to £1. We can't afford the ABRSM and other exams anymore. The recording app, Mark talked about this, David talked about it, and you probably won't really appreciate this till you download it and give it a go. But it is really quite simple. You put it on your phone. You don't have to have a fancy phone. And you do need some internet at the beginning, and you do need a little bit of internet at the end for the submission, but you can actually do the bits in the middle offline. So that helps with some of our poor internet or unstable internet in Nigeria, but you will still need some internet as part of this process. But it is still quite simple, quite simple. The diverse syllabus. This is another one that I am very, very excited about. I've been looking for this for several years now. Many of our students, particularly in vocal, in drums, in guitar, find the other board exams a little bit dull, for lack of a better word. They're looking for pieces that they can feel, that they can, associate with. And for many of our young students nowadays, those are songs in the rock or pop or jazz genres. And so the fact that MTB offers both of these for many of the instruments, not across board, but they offer a contemporary syllabus, they offer a classical syllabus with pieces that you can select from their bookshop. Or like he said earlier, you can actually do free choice pieces as well. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity for students who have their favorite pieces already at many of these grade levels. You would just need to work with them to be sure that it is the appropriate level. And they offer a free service for this. You send them the piece, you say what grade you're trying to use it for, and they assess it and come back and say, yes, that is a grade 3, go ahead, or no, this is not high enough, and they'll let you know that well ahead of time. Also, the fact that they have so many different instruments, it says 30 on this, but I think they're actually up to almost 35 now from the last conversation I had with David. So they continue to expand their offering to meet the needs of the people across the world. In fact, I saw on BBC recently, they offered a new Sikh program, Sikh Sacred Music. That's one of the religious sects out of India, and they have a very unique style of music. And now MTB has an exam that has been specially put together to accommodate that culture and that background. So I think that is a fantastic step in the right direction in being a truly worldwide organization. The flexibility in the pieces, I think I talked about this already, but this free choice service and being able to use pieces that you already know and love. The online option for the pre-exams, I think that is fantastic. I get teachers and students all the time saying, hey, my student is not ready for grade 1 yet. Is there nothing they can do? And while some of these exam boards do offer initial or pre-exams, what they don't offer currently to Nigerian students is an online option. They only offer it as a face-to-face, and you have to be in one of the countries that they offer face-to-face. And right now in Nigeria, none of the examination boards, international examination boards, I should say, just to clarify, are offering a face-to-face option at this time. So this is a big plus for our younger students who are not quite to that grade 1, who want to have a go at an exam and feel and get a good assessment of their skills. Just to reiterate all the different examination types that they offer, the interactive music theory particularly is another one that we are excited about because the other exam boards do offer the exam as an online, but all the material in preparing the students and getting ready is typically still paper-based. And for some students, that shift from a paper-based to the online just for the exam is a little bit rough. Whereas this one, everything is interactive. I'll get Mark or David to talk about it a little bit more, but once they sign up for it, they have access to that whole textbook. Like he showed, the teacher, if he has signed up as a hub, I think is able to log in and see like their homework assignments and how they are doing, and all that kind of stuff as well. So you can actually work with remote students and online students as well, and prepare them for music theory exams. He said that right now it's grade 1 to 5, but grade 6 is coming shortly. Grade 6 is something that we have several students that have been wanting to do grade 6 for a couple of years now, but grade 6 has not been available in Nigeria since before COVID. So that will be a fantastic step forward for many of our higher level students that want an opportunity to do the grade 6 and hopefully soon the grade 7 or grade 8 theory exams as well. And all of these theory exams are recognized. So if you take the MTB grade 5 theory exam online, and then you go to take like a grade 7 ABRSM exam, that grade 5 from MTB is recognized, and they will release your results for your grade 7 practical, as an example. So all of these are equated to the exams that we've been taking and know very, very well. I don't think I will go through all of this, but this is all information that is actually available on the website as well. So I do encourage you to, as Mark and David has said, to go through the website in more detail, even after this call. But we hope that you can drop some of your questions now, and we will go through those and try our best to answer everything we can. If we're not able to answer anything, we will circle back with you after the session. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and unmute Mark, and I'm going to unmute David. If you could both come on video as well. And then I will run through the questions and we can decide who the right person is, or if a couple people want to take a stab at some of these questions. All right, so I'm going to start with, let's see here. I'm going to start with the question. We have a couple questions on the theory, I think. So on the theory, the question is it possible to have access to online theory practice questions without registering with MTB? And that was submitted by Peter.
No, you would need to have registered for an account to access our theory. The sign up is very, very straightforward for a parent or learner. It takes about 1 minute. You just need an email and a password to sign up as a parent to access it, if that's what you want to sign up as.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I think that's the only question on theory, so we'll move to instrumental. One of the questions is, I may have missed it, but are there exams for drums? And this was by Tom.
Shall I take?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. Am I on video here? Can you see
yes.
me?
You are.
Yeah.
We can see your face. Yes.
Lovely. I just can't see myself. That's fine. So yeah, we offer drum kit. We offer percussion as well. So there are 2 types of exams, but there's also contemporary drums. So you can basically focus your repertoire on rock and pop styles, or on jazz, or what other more sort of modern styles you want on your drum kit, or you can do a bit more, approach it as more of a sort of classical, a mixture of things with the ordinary drum kit or percussion syllabuses. In fact, the percussion syllabus also allows you to play drum kit, but you can play drum kit as one piece, but you can do timpani or other instruments as the other parts of your exam. So yeah, we do is the answer to that. And there are some books, but also online, there are syllabuses that have links to various of the Sheet Music Plus and whatever the other stores are that allow you to get more up-to-date stuff. Oh, and Tom Play is a great place to go as well if you want to explore drum kit, actually.
Thank you, Mark. There, like we've mentioned a couple times, in addition to the drums that we just spoke about, there's about 30 other instruments and styles that they support. They're all listed on the website, so from piano to violin to guitar to trumpet, all kinds of different things are well supported within the MTB exams. Next question. Is there provision for a piano contemporary exam from grade 8 and above? And I think I'll combine this with a question that says, please, can you speak a bit more to your exams above grade 8? So maybe you can take that together.
Yeah, absolutely. Should I do that, David?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as regards contemporary music above grade 8 piano, absolutely. What's great about MTB exams, as everyone's been pointing out, is it's completely flexible. So you have complete free choice repertoire. So if you're doing a grade 8 exam, or let's say you decide to do your AMTB diploma, and you want to focus on contemporary, different kind of modern styles of music at that level, you can absolutely select music to play from that genre. You can, in fact, do all your music from the more contemporary. You remember that word is being used in a slightly different way. Sometimes it's used, but basically to cover all different popular styles. You can choose everything from that genre. The key point is, and that, as we were just saying, to combine this with talking a bit more about the diplomas and what we're looking for, you have to display music or technical skills at diploma level. So you will need to play pieces that display a level of commensurate with something that is, as I said, first year, where you would expect to be first year of music college at the end of that, or as a full-time professional musician that displays technical skills, expressive skills of that nature. Now, we do on our diplomas have a set work, which is a classical work, which you would have to play if you wanted to use that piece. But there is an option to do a different set work. So if you wanted to do a completely contemporary exam, you would have to find a piece of contemporary piano music that displays a similar level of technical facility and difficulty to the set work that's been mentioned, and you would send it in to us, and we will tell you whether it's suitable. That set work is key to the exam, because what it does is it enables us to assure ourselves that you've reached the technical standard for AMTB or LMTB. The rest of the program is entirely your choice. So it could be a slow piece that maybe requires much less technical facility, but shows your ability to express yourself to your phrasing and all your other musicality. And very often, those are the pieces that show us almost more than anything. A person that can play a more straightforward, if you like, but slower piece, but really sell it to you, is somebody clearly with great talent. So yeah, that I think answers the questions. The only other thing I would say is that we do offer an interesting thing with piano, and this might be of interest, I don't know, but basically you can do piano or you can do keyboard with MTB exams. And keyboard is designed for electric keyboards. In other words, well, yeah, you know what, all know what an electric keyboard is. Not a digital piano. We're not talking about digital pianos here, which are really basically pianos. We're talking about electric keyboards. But electric keyboards can be of any quality, so they might have all the facility to do lots of piano stuff. But the point about it is that obviously there's a lot you can do in the contemporary style on an electric keyboard. So if you chose to take very high level performance grade on a contemporary instrument, that would be possible. And you might go down the route of a keyboard potentially if you wanted to use that type of instrument. So I think that's all I can think of saying for that area.
All right, thank you. I think this question has kind of been answered here, but I'm going to bring it up for those that may not have seen this. It says, did Mark say students could play ABRSM pieces or not? Also submitted by Peter.
Yes, they can. So if you've got pieces that you like from ABRSM and you think you want to take an MTB grade 5, let's say you've learned all the pieces for ABRSM grade 5, you can use those same pieces for an MTB grade 5.
Yeah. So each of those pieces would essentially be a free choice piece. But because they've already been graded by ABRSM, you can be assured that they would meet the same grading level for you guys as well.
Precisely.
Yeah. Thank you. Is it possible this one the questioner might need to come online and give us a little bit more details on what he's asking, but it says, is it possible to examine pupils up to 50 in a month? So I don't know if
Yes.
Akintunde is online, but
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
you should
If
be
you want to
able to.
submit 50 exams in a month, you want to submit 1,000 exams in a month. Everything is, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Okay. Akintunde, if you had more to that question, just let us know, and I can also unmute you to ask the question if we're not guessing what you're asking. But yes, I'm sure you can. Another question. How long does it take to receive back the grades after submission of an exam?
Yep. So the exams are marked within 2 weeks. So you'll receive your exam mark sheet back within 2 weeks, and then your certificate follows within 2 to 4 weeks after that mark sheet.
Okay. Is there any provision for music theory exam practice online and practical graded exam demonstration? This was submitted by Shola. Shola, you may have to come online and help us understand your question a little bit more. So let me ask the next question. Is there a yearly review of the syllabus?
Yes. Yeah, there is. And we've actually just completed our most recent annual review. Effectively, we'll state whether there are any minor revisions, which are, small tweaks to a syllabus, whether there's any more sizable updates, and that's a change to the syllabus, or any new additions or removals. If it's an update, so i.e. something has changed in the syllabus of what you need to learn, that's kind of materially changed what it would be in your exam, there's a 6-month transition window. So even if something changes, you still would have it for 6 months to use for your exams. And if for some reason you wouldn't be ready to submit an exam for 6 months, you can email us and we'll grant you an extension if you explain why, for example, you might need a bit longer to submit your exam under the old syllabus. So yeah, we're very flexible. Syllabuses don't tend to change dramatically year on year. There might be some new content, might be some changes, some up tweaks, but we don't tend to massively overhaul them on a yearly basis. So yeah.
So do you have any sort of, I saw your recent updates, and in your recent updates, in most cases, it was adding a few songs or maybe eliminating a couple of songs, but the bulk of the songs remain the same. Is that a typical year for you guys, or do you do
Yes.
anything like ABRSM where there's a expiration and everything expires at one go, things like that? Do you do that?
No, so there's no expiration, just smaller annual reviews and tweaks to syllabuses and changes. So there might be a few new songs, a new book here and there, and a few off. But with free choice, bear in mind that unless it's been regraded, you can still use those old pieces for the exam if you want to, as a free choice option.
Yeah, actually, also just something that came up in a recent webinar I did. Somebody asked, can we use old pieces from other boards, so expired pieces from a ABRSM or Trinity that they don't have on their syllabus anymore that you liked? Yes, you can. So though with MTB, anything that is currently at that grade or has previously been on the syllabus at that grade is absolutely fine. The only exception, as David says, is if we've actively regraded the piece to a different grade, but that's quite a rare thing.
Okay. A couple of people had asked about contact information for us in Nigeria. This is the contact information for us. Masha Music Academy is located at number 22, near Okunubi Street in Lekki Phase 1. We're available on phone or WhatsApp at the number here. Also available on Instagram at MMA Lagos. And the email shown here is directly for me, the music director at Masha Music. So if you have any follow-up, please feel free to reach out through any of those channels as well. There's another question from Tong. if you want to switch from one exam board to the other, to MTB, how would that work?
It's very flexible. So as you know, we accept pieces from other exam boards. So if you've already started people, for example, learning pieces from another board, you wouldn't have to necessarily change the recital pieces they've learned. You just need to make sure that you've looked at what the requirements are for our exams, because they're not the same as the other exam boards. So make sure that you've learned, if you're doing a practical exam, the correct technical exercises, the correct scales, those kind of things. Or if it's a performance, then you don't have to worry about that so much. Just make sure that you've looked at the MTB requirements. But we do get a lot of schools and teachers that will shift students across mid-learning process. They might have learned a few of their pieces, but those pieces can still be used for our exam. So then they might just add an extra piece for the performance exam, or it might already suit it for the performance exam with what they've already learned. Or they might teach them some of the extra practical elements before shifting them over. Similarly, obviously, you can just start your new students off with MTB and keep your existing students doing what they're doing and transition that way. So we get schools and teachers that do it a number of different ways as they switch over between boards. But we're very friendly and helpful. We're not trying to trip you up. So if you have any questions, you can always ask us or our Nigerian representatives, and I'm sure we'll be able to help out with what you need to be looking at and what you need to be doing.
Thank you. So I think we have a couple questions that people want to ask. So I'm trying to unmute Peter. Peter, are you there? I've given you permission to speak and unmute yourself. You have your hand up. And then I think Shola had asked a question that wasn't clear, so if he could also come up next. Peter, are you there? Peter Daly. You just have to click you should see unmute myself on your screen. Let's see. All right, let's try and take a question from okay, it looks like Akintunde is also trying to ask a question, so let me find him and unmute him as well. Let's see. Akintunde, I've given you permission to unmute yourself. There you go. All right.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity, and it's a great program. And the question I want to ask now is, I was trying to ask if I have about 50 to 60 pupils in the school where I teach, and I want to enroll them. I know we run termly, and information have been passed to the parents about exams and all of that. So is it possible for them to be assessed within 2 months? That was what I was asking. So take, for instance, we have each of them who registered for violin, or some registered for the piano and different musical instrument like that. So is it possible for them to be assessed and get their certificates within the period of 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, that's a very straightforward. If you can hear me, it's the point. The point is that with an MTB exam, you can enter it today and take it tomorrow if you wish. Once you've registered, you can. So if your pupils are ready, basically, as soon as your pupils are ready, they can take their exam. There's no windows between which you have to take them. If you wanted to do it in the next week or the next 2 weeks or the next month, you just register. And you enter each pupil individually as a candidate, and then they actually take their exam when they're ready. And as David said, you get your result within a couple of weeks. So you would definitely be able to do it within that scale.
So Akintunde, I think from the MTB side, they're focused on the point from which you register, submit, and then their obligation is to do the assessment and give you back your results. What I would need clarification on from you, and we could also take this offline, I can reach out to you after this, is the students themselves would have to be ready for the exam. So if the students themselves haven't started preparation for the exam, that is a different story, and that may not be able to happen within 2 months, depending on their level of knowledge as a starting point.
No.
So I think, why don't we take that particular question on the offline, and I can reach out to you later this afternoon or first thing tomorrow, and we can catch up on that. Is that okay?
All right, that's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Kaylee, I don't know if you still wanted to come up. Otherwise, I'm going to unmute Emmanuel. I'm going to unmute the MTB exam information site so that Mr. Shola can ask his question. Can you accept the unmute? Alternatively, I'm going to temporarily allow all people to unmute so that you guys can unmute yourselves. So that permission has been given again. So Emmanuel at the music school, can you unmute from your end so that Shola can ask his question? There's also another question here that I hadn't taken yet. It says, please, can you explain different methods of paying for these exams as an international candidate? David, you want to take your first stab at that, and then I might be able to add on to that as well.
Yes, sorry, it broke up slightly on my side. Just like,
okay, question again is, please, can you explain different methods of paying for these exams as an international candidate?
Yeah, absolutely. So our payment is very straightforward. You can, on the entry section, you can make a payment in pounds via the website make an entry system. So effectively, it will convert any local currency into the equivalent in pounds to make the payment. So you would look at, it would show you on the kind of checkouty area what the cost would be, but you can also just check. You can put in, okay, the exam is £36. What's that equivalent in local currency? And that would be how you would pay. So you can pay by card, debit card, credit card. We have PayPal as well that you can pay via. So there's a number of different kind of payment routes. Also, I'm sure if there's an issue, otherwise you can contact Masha, and we can sort something out there where as a kind of direct route if there are issues, needs a bank transfer or something like that. That can also be arranged with certain things and links sent to you and stuff like that. So yeah, there's lots of different options. Payments are very easy. We haven't had any problems with users in Africa making payments on the website to date. We've got centres in Kenya and Nigeria, various other countries that have had no issues there. As Mark also mentioned, it can be yourself, the school or teacher that makes the entry, or the parent/learner can make the entry. So it doesn't have to be you necessarily that enters them for your candidate. You can just give your centre number and the parent can go away and make the entry and the payments for you. So it's up to you. You can either centralize the system yourself and do everything for them and take the payments from the parents, or just give your centre number out and the parents can make the entries themselves.
Okay. And I think right now in Nigeria, to use a local card, it has to be a card tied to a domiciliary account for the most part, because of the amount. Very few banks, if any, are allowing payments on their local currency accounts at this time, but maybe that will change in the next few months. I know at one point we could do at least $100 a month, but the limit has been reduced in most banks to basically zero at this time. But if you do have a domiciliary account, you can use your card on your domiciliary account to make those payments. All right. I don't know if Shola is going to come online to ask his question. Otherwise, that was our last question. Okay, it looks like they're coming online. All right, go ahead, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. My question is on the practical grades and performance. Is there any provisions for video demonstration on all these exams from grade 1 to 8 up to AMTB and MTB?
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of video demonstrations, that's actually been requested by a few centres recently. So we're in the process of producing some video demonstrations, which we will put on the website and YouTube. We're hoping within the next few weeks. So we'll send them to all the representatives, and they can pass them on to anyone that's interested. So maybe if you give your details to Masha, we'll to the Masha Music Academy, then we can get that sent out.
Yes.
To you.
So we have everybody that's here today has registered as part of signing up for this event. So we do plan to add you guys to our mailing list, and as new things come up from MTB, we will share those with you so that you can be kind of up to date on things as they happen. So that's our intention. There's one other question. I think we'll take this as the last question, and then we'll wrap up. It's about 4:40 already. They want to know the duration of each grade exam and how many pieces could be performed.
Yep. So that's available on our website. If you go to under exams, there's performance grades. I don't know whether, Mark, do you still have it on your screen if you can share, or someone could share on the website? Can you share, Mark?
Yeah.
I don't have it on the website, but I actually had it on a slide here, so I was thinking.
Oh, perfect.
That up.
So yes, it's on the website under exams,
Yep.
performance grades. It lists out things on the performance grades about it, but the practical grades, as you say, is fixed three pieces for the practical grades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for the classical grades, it's not based on time or duration. It's based on specific number of pieces. But for the performance grades, there is a target duration for each grade level, which is available on the website. Yeah,
that's on the website.
I'll try and share for you just to show.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll
stop on my end.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you want to go to exams, performance grades?
If you go to performance grades, and then you go down, it says what are the target durations for each grade? And so there's no target duration for pre-grades. And these target durations are not absolute. These are just basically, the better you manage your duration, the happier we'll be. But if you fall short, it's not going to cause a big problem. But
they're advisory at the lower grades. We advise that they should be roughly around this area, but they can be a third longer or shorter without any kind of real implication on the exam. That's fine. It's only for grades 6 to 8, as Mark is showing there, that we have fixed durations. So this is where you need to have the exam between 12 and 18 minutes, or between 15 and 21 minutes for the exam. So if it is below the minimum or above the maximum, there would be potentially penalties on the result, or if it's too far below, we wouldn't be able to accept it. So, and it would be up to you to select a program that meets roughly this time duration. So if you were asked to do a gig or a recital, they would likely say, okay, you have a 30-minute slot to play, and this is the same. We're saying, okay, this is the slot of playing time you have, and we need you to fill it with pieces and playing, and potentially some verbal introductions, as Mark has talked about. You can kind of speak as part of the exam and introduce things as part of the time. So yeah, you would select a few pieces, maybe play it and time it, see roughly how long it takes, and then you would go from there.
Yeah, and for contemporary instruments, there are different numbers of pieces because they can be very long. With the verse chorus structure of contemporary pieces, sometimes you would only need to do 3 to get yourself right up to these durations, actually. But 4 or 5 pieces are required for all classical instruments other than that. But for practical grades, there is no time limit. You have to play 3 pieces, and it doesn't matter how long or short they are. That's the thing. They just need to be the right grade standard. And so you need to check if they're particularly short. You would have to check, of course. But there's no time limit there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you to Mark and David for joining us today and sharing with us all this information about the Music Teacher Board and MTB exam. I hope that you feel much more knowledgeable now about this exam, and are just as excited as I am, because I truly think when I first got introduced to them about a year ago or so, I truly felt like this was a good opportunity that was missing in Nigeria. And as a music educator at Masha Music, we've been doing this for 15 years. And there just seemed to be this gap that they could fill for us, especially in our changing economy at the moment. So thank you so much for your time today, and for everyone who took the time out on October 1st to join us. Happy Independence Day to Nigeria. We pray that Nigeria will take a turn and continue to grow from from branch to branch. And we pray that each of you and your homes will continue to blossom as well. So thank you so much. Please